Hello students. Till now we saw about Russian revolutions, that is February revolution and October revolution, and let us see Russian revolution's impact. What is the impact on the world? Impact. Yeah, there was a huge impact on the world about Russian revolutions. Many countries were inspired from the Russian revolutions, and they wanted to set up a similar government like a communist government which was set up in Russia. So the major impact was why this kind of impact was there all over the world, because Russia, they tried to build a society without capitalism, without kings and without landlords. So you observe that there was no industrialist, there was no kings, there was no exploiters, and they are building Russia all on equality basis. There was no gender, race, language, sex discrimination was there under communist Russia. Hence, there was more impact. There was huge impact all over the world. You see, Rabindranath Tagore also inspired from Russian Revolution. Jawaharlal Nehru also inspired from Russian Revolution. Swami Vivekananda also inspired from Russian Revolution, because they are trying to build a society without inequalities, where there was no exploiter, where there was no landlords, where there was no kings. All are equality. Hence, these were inspired many of the countries and many of the intellectuals. And one of the person belongs to India, M.N. Roy. He also inspired the Lenin ideologies, and he set up Communist Party of India in 1920s. Communist Party of India, it was set up in 1920 by M.N. Roy. It was set up. But some certain criticism also there on the Russian Revolution, because when Russian government was formed under the leadership of Lenin and Stalin, there was a complete cruelty. They were denied any other political rights, suppression of political powers or suppression of political parties. They controlled the political parties. They never give proper freedom to the people. So there was a sarcastic novel also written by one famous person. His name is George Orwell. George Orwell, he wrote infamous one satiric novel, that is Animal Farm. Animal Farm, a satiric novel on the Russian Revolution. Even though there was some positives, some negatives are there. Some of the Russian members were cruelly killed, suppressed by the communist government. Next, we concluded Russian Revolution. Next, let us see about Great Depression. Let us see what is Great Depression. It was completely destroyed many of the country's economy. Great Depression, very very important. It may ask in examination for 2 marks and 4 marks. Great Depression. Great Depression. Great Depression began in 1929 and ended in 1939. 1 decade. Great Depression started in 1929 and ended in 1939. So what are the reasons for the Great Depression? There are so many reasons are there in the Great Depression, but major were decline and demand. There was no demand for the goods. Decline and demand. When demand was declined, what will happen? Fall of prices. Decline in demand and fall of prices. When fall of prices will be there, what will be happen? Factories will be closed. Decline in demand, fall of prices, factories are closed. When factories are closed, what will happen? Unemployment. When unemployment will be there, what will be happen? Poverty. What is poverty? So these are the cyclical effects. So decline in demand, fall of prices, factories are closed, unemployment, and whenever unemployment, you do not have any job, that will be leads for the poverty. So these are the reasons for the Great Depression. And one more major reason is stock market collapse. Stock markets. US stock market, it is called as Wall Street collapse. Wall Street collapsed. So Wall Street was collapsed. Stock markets were collapsed, and so many stocks were sold. So many shares were sold in a single day. So this is also called as Black Thursday. It is also called as Black Thursday. 24th October 1929 it was took. So due to that, many countries were suffered a lot. Many countries were suffered. So many jobs have been lost due to this Great Depression. Great Depression started in 1929 and 1939. These are the reasons for the Great Depression. Let us see what was happening in the Great Depression. What were the conditions during the Great Depression? First one is 25% of USA persons, they lost their employment. And 33% of the world, remaining persons, they lost their jobs. 60% of agricultural products. 60% of agricultural products prices were decreased. Yeah, when prices were, there was no demand, there was no prices, there was no money, then the prices were completely decreased. So many members became unemployed. Many of the people, they do not have money to purchase, and they are pauperized. Pauperized means unable to eat something in a day. So that was a very dangerous condition came during 1929. It was lasted in 1939. Let us see these kind of the conditions. How will be the Germany? How these conditions are there in the Germany also. We will see. Yeah, some of the members they saying that economists they say that what was the main reason for this? Reasons. Let us see the reasons for the Great Depression. Reasons for the Great Depression. GD means Great Depression. First one. Marxist economists argue that Marxist means those who believe Karl Marx. They called as Marxist economists. Yeah. Marxist economists, they say that this was happened because of capitalism. Karl Marx, those who believe Karl Marx, they say that Great Depression was occurred because of the capitalism. So what they said that remove capitalism and adapt to socialism. If we wanted to remove capitalism, so we have to adapt to socialism. That is Karl Marx economists, they believe. Those who believe Karl Marx ideologists, they are believing in this one. And one more economist. His name is Mr. J.N. Keynes. Yeah, J.N. Keynes is suggesting that. What the J.N. Keynes is suggesting? J.N. Keynes is suggesting that, yeah, this was whenever Great Depression occurred. So the state should invest money and generate employment. Yeah, J.N. Keynes arguing that state should invest money and generate employment whenever Great Depression occurs. They say that J.N. Keynes says that state should invest money or state should invest fund to generate employment opportunities. So these two are the major reasons they say by the economist. So during that time, F.D. Roosevelt, Franklin D. Roosevelt we call usually Roosevelt. F.D. Roosevelt was USA president of USA. I'm writing president of USA. F.D. Roosevelt proposed that. It was shock to all, because how you see now coronavirus, many of the industries and shops were closed, they became unemployees, and this kind of situation was there. Then the F.D. Roosevelt, though that time he was the president, he wanted to save those countries are suffering from the Great Depression. Those countries are suffering from the depression. He wanted to save the countries. He wanted to help the countries. He wanted to help the countries. Then he introduced a policy. He introduced a policy 3 R's. He introduced a policy 3 R's. First R. First R means, first R, relief. First R is relief. Second R. Second R means reform. Reform. Third R, it is recovery. Recover. So he says that whenever Great Depression occurred, they realized it. They realized that they are saying that he was introduced a 3R policy. This policy also called as New Deal policy. New Deal policy. So under the New Deal policy, F.D. Roosevelt was adopted the New Deal policy. Under the New Deal policy, 3 R's have been adopted. 3 R's means first R. First R is relief. Relief from the depression. So we are suffering a lot. So we want relief. And when we are in suffering, we need to reform. If we reform, then only we can recover. So relief, reform, recover. Relief from the depression, reform from the depression, and recover from the depression. So this was adopted. This was introduced by the F.D. Roosevelt, USA President, and it was shocking to them. It was realized to them. So they introduced a certain social security scheme in USA. Social security schemes in USA because he wanted to save the Americans. If again this Great Depression will happen, it will be very difficult to save the Americans. Hence, they adopted certain social security schemes. Let us compare two countries' social security schemes. First, USA and Britain. USA and Britain both were adopted social security schemes after the World War. Initially, before World War only Britain was adopted, but Britain were strengthened the social security scheme welfare system after the depression. I repeat, Britain introduced welfare system in the beginning of the Great Depression, but after the Great Depression they were completely strengthening the welfare system. Let us see first one. First one is first scheme. First scheme is universal retirement scheme. Universal retirement pension. Universal retirement pension scheme. So before that there was no pension was given to the employees. So Americans they thought that pensions we have to give because there was no pensions after the retirement. What they will eat? So that they are giving that universal retirement pension to the workers. Next, unemployment insurance. Unemployment insurance. So they are also giving unemployment insurance. Those who do not have jobs, for them also they are giving money, like pensions. They are giving pensions and welfare benefits. Welfare benefits for the children without fathers and handicap. And you also know that in our Telangana state also we are providing insurance money, Asara pensions to handicapped, orphans, so that these systems are called as social security system. Social security system. So social security, because if again depression will come, that will be not affect the people. During Corona lockdown time, government also paying them money because if they do not have work, do not have money, how they can eat? So that they are giving money to the people. Hence, this kind of the same system was adopted. This kind of the same system was adopted in US. If any depression will come, the people would not be affected. So that this system was adopted in USA. Let us take in Britain. Britain also adopted. They also given unemployment insurance. Employment insurance. Those who are unemployed are there. For them, it was insurance was given. Second one, old age pensions. Old age pension. It is there in our Telangana state also. Old age pensions. Those who are old, for them it is difficult to survive, to eat. So that old age pensions also given. Next, unemployment doles. Unemployment doles means again, those who are unemployed, they are providing something to them. Next, sickness coverage, like insurance. Sickness coverage Sickness coverage. Those who are sick, for them certain sickness coverage schemes were adopted. Next, they started certain health schemes. Certain health schemes like RHS like schemes were adopted. Next, they gave importance on the child care. Child care. They gave utmost importance to the child care. So this system is called as welfare schemes. These are the welfare schemes of the Britain. Many systems are there. Responsibility taken to provide employment. They are providing employment. Just write providing employment. Providing employment. The responsibility they taken to provide employment, and they are completely ensured that to provide basic minimum needs. Basic minimum needs. Basic minimum needs. So they are providing basic minimum needs. What are the basic minimum needs? Basic minimum needs are, first one is food. Next clothing, shelter. Okay, shelter, food, cloth, shelter, health, child care. Okay, child and old age care, old age care, child education. So these are the schemes. It was introduced by USA and Britain. I repeat, after the Great Depression, they wanted to save the people. They wanted people to save and do not affect any kind of depression may come. So that this USA introduced the social security schemes and Britain introduced these welfare schemes. So because of these schemes, still now the countries are in very good stage. These countries are very good in stage right now. So these are the social security schemes and welfare schemes. Both are same actually. So these are the differences schemes. You have to understand that Britain was introduced these schemes even before the Great Depression. Now let us see depression. Germany during the depression. What is the German condition during the depression? Germany's condition during the depression. Many countries are suffering from the depression. All countries are suffering from the depression, but Russia did not suffer from the Great Depression because Russian economy was not interlinked with other countries, and Russians are following collectivization. All members are doing collective form. Hence, Russian economy was not affected. Due to this Great Depression. Let us see Germany condition. Let us see Germany situation during Great Depression. Let us see. We already know that according to the Treaty of Versailles, they are paying war damages. Germany paying money, 6 billion pounds they have to pay as war indemnity, I said. So they are paying money, currency. So they are paying war damages, and they printed more currency. When we print more currency, what will happen? When we print more currency, it will lead to inflation. Inflation means rise of the prices. Okay, rise of the prices of the goods and decreasing the value. The money value will decreases. That is called inflation. When you print more currency, there is no value of the money. Okay, so that is they are paying war damages. They are printing more currency. That was led for the inflation. And 6 million Germans were lost their jobs. 6 million Germans were lost their jobs. And you see, there was one saying. Some of the young men, they wore a placard. That around their neck. Young men, they wore placard around their neck. They say that willing to do any work. So there is no work, but people wanted to eat something to survive. Hence, on the placard, for example, this is placard they wore around their neck, willing to do any work. And some of the members they did criminal activities, robber, theft something. Some of the members they simply playing on the corners of the street and playing cards. So this was a very worst situation. Germany was worst hit by this Great Depression. Most of the people were lost and money value were decreased. For example, you have 1 lakh rupees in your bank. So the 1 lakh rupee value was decreased. So whenever the money value was decreased, there was no any value. So salaried people, pensioner peoples, they are worrying about lot of things. They are worrying about money because their money value was decreased. And 40% of industrial products, 40% of industrial production lost. Industrial production, 40% of industrial productions were lost. People feared about the salaries. There was no salaries. Companies were closed. Salaried people, those pensioners they are getting, they are worrying. Industries, shops, everything was closed. And people were suffering for the pauperization. Pauperization, the meaning of the pauperization means lack of the food, and there was anxiety among them. There was completely anxiety among them. What will happen? Who will save? They are looking for a savior. They are looking for a leader, great leader, because they are lost in the world war. They are paying most of the money. They printed currency. They lost their jobs. The German condition was very bad. The government also very weak. So no one took responsibility to bail out this Germany condition. So in that situation, the leader came. That only Hitler. During this time, Hitler came, and Hitler was tried to come out from this Great Depression. So this is Germany's situation. Now let us see the ideology of the fascist and Nazist. In the beginning session, we discussed that what is the fascism, what is the Nazism. Let us see what is the ideology of the Nazism and what is the ideology of fascism. Yeah, fascism. Yeah, fascism. It's called fascism. So fascism, the word derived from the fascio. Fascio, that means bundle of rod. Bundle of rod means very strong. No one can break. So fascio, it was developed in the Italy. The fascism, it is developed in the Italy. It was developed by the Benito Mussolini. He was developed during 1922. Those countries are defeated in World War. Those countries were defeated in the World War. They wanted to take revenge on the countries because these countries were humiliated. These countries were completely humiliated. So what ideology they follow? Usually, what ideology they follow? First, they want national unity. First one, very, very important. They want national unity. And in order to win and expand. Unity. For what purpose national unity? In order to win and expand. This is very, very important. What is the ideology of the fascism? National unity in order to win and expand. Second, one of the important things is that they did not allow different interests. Didn't allow different interest. What is mean by different interest? For example, I have different opinion. Different interest means different opinion. They did not allow different opinion. All members' opinion is towards to the nation. Nation is first, and they suppressed the people. Yeah, those people they want for the democracy, multi-party system, elections. Those people are demanding. They are killing them. They are completely suppressing them because they also developed dictatorship was developed. A dictatorship was developed, and a devotion towards the nation. Devotion means we have to believe in the leader, and we have to believe worshipping of the state. So 51 is worshipping of states. Devotion. Next, they have to believe devotion to the leader, like God. Devotion towards to leader. So leader is like a god. So we have to believe in leader and we have to completely go along with the leader. They believe in extreme nationalism. They believe in extreme nationalism. Extreme nationalism. Yeah. Extreme means highest. They believe in extreme to extreme nationalism and militarism. They believed that military only, war only can solve all the problems. War can only will solve the problems. They believed, and they also believed in political violence. They did political violence. Those who are opposed, they were completely killed. They were stood to capitalism. They were adopted. They adopted capitalism. So these are the ideologies of the fascism. These all are the ideologies of the fascism. So nationalism, national unity in order to win. Okay, to adopted capitalism. These all are the very cruel ideologies of the fascism. Not these all are similar to German's ideology, also similar. Example, you see, they completely opposed socialism and communism. Here we can write opposed socialism and communism. It also, they may ask, what are, write a few ideology of the fascism. So you may write for 4 marks, 4 marks or 2 marks. You may write any of this. Okay. Let us see now how other dictators they developed in other countries. So Benito Mussolini was developed these kind of the ideology. Nazi ideology also similar. It was similar. They also adopted the same policy. Hitler. Let us see Hitler. Hitler became president in 1933. Means chancellor. Hitler became chancellor. Chancellor means like prime minister. Chancellor. Hitler became chancellor in 1933 and he followed the Nazi ideology. Whenever he followed Nazi ideology, he was promised to all the people. That I will restore the dignity of the Germany. Germany was humiliated. Those countries are made Germany bad. I want to take revenge on that country. He was led huge rallies and public meetings. Hitler was promised to the youth that I can create employment opportunities. So that was, the people were very great trouble because that people were in the Great Depression and people were looking for a great leader. People were looking for a great savior. People also wanted to take revenge on those countries who defeated in the World War. So that Hitler came in right time. Let us see rise of Hitler later. And another person was there at the time, Mr. General Franco. General Franco he was in 1939 in Spain. So these all are. Now we didn't see this kind of the dictatorial kind of governments. Hitler 1933, General Franco 1939. Nowadays we can see North Korea President Kim Jong-un. He was also dictator. There was no complete freedom to them. So he also behaved like, those people also behaved like Jim Yon Kim. Okay. These three are the important dictators those time. Let us see how the Hitler was raised, how the Hitler came into power. I am writing as rise of Hitler. Yeah. People are looking for a savior. People are looking for a government. People are looking for a different person who will save them and who can take revenge on those countries are made German situation very bad. So let us see once. Hitler in 1928, German Nazi party, they got only 2.6% of the votes. 2.6% of the vote in 1928. But after 1932, they got 37% of the votes. Then Hitler became a chancellor and Hitler was developed a new ideology, that is Nazi ideology. You know, their swastika with red banner. Swastika with red banner became symbol. There was a huge rallies. There was a huge rallies and public meeting. Huge rallies and public meeting. He was encouraging the members to come and join into the army. And there was a Nazi salute was there. This is a Nazi salute. There was a Nazi salute. He was completely encouraging to them. He was also promising to that the conspiracies against of the Germany can be dissolved. I can restore the dignity of the Germany. The promises were completely encouraged the people to move towards the Hitler. Hitler was a good speaker, good orator. Whenever he speak, all persons they were very enthusiastic. So that Hitler became very popular and he speak good in public meetings, and he also started the work towards to develop the German state. Yeah, what the things he did? No, he was in 3/3/1933. Very important. 3/3/1933. 3/3/1933. He was introduced one act. It is called as Enabling Act. He was introduced to one act which is called as Enabling Act. Very famous. 3/3/33. 3/3/1933. He introduced one Enabling Act. What is Enabling Act? According to the Enabling Act, he became dictator. He became dictator. He became dictator. Second, all parties and unions, all parties union except Nazi and its affiliates, except Nazi party and Nazi affiliates, ban it. He was completely banned. Imprisoned political. Those members are there. Imprisoned his enemies. He was imprisoned his enemies. He was arrested his enemies. So he became a dictator. All parties and unions except Nazi and affiliates. Nazi party, affiliates means Nazi party support. Nazi party supporting parties were there, except these parties remaining all are banned. He imprisoned his enemies, means his political prisoners or political enemies were imprisoned. In order to control the society, he wanted to control complete Germany in his hand. Example, you may have seen Kanche movie. In Kanche movie also they have shown about. In Kanche movie also they shown about the Germany Nazis. Special security force, special surveillance police and security forces. Very important. Security forces, special surveillance and security forces were created in order to what Nazis wanted. So that kind of the things will be done by special surveillance and security forces. Next, usually police in the Germany wear green uniform. Police were usually in the green uniform, but later different police system have been introduced by Hitler. First one is, we can say that SD police, SA police, SS police, 4, 5, SD means security services. This is security services. SA means stormtroopers. SS protection squad. I am writing as protection squad. So different police system I introduced, and moreover criminal police. There was separate criminal police. Moreover, there was a very dangerous police is there, that is Gestapo. Very important. Gestapo means secret police. Sir, what these people do? They do secret. They live among the German people secretly. They record. They inform to the Hitler that what is going on. Who are against of the Hitler. And these Gestapo police were informed to the other police. They arrest all members. They will be sent towards the concentration camp. Those who are against of the Nazis, they have been sent to the concentration camps. They given in one textbook one picture, concentration camp. In concentration camps, most of the people will be killed. Many of the people will be killed, and they believed on racial superiority, racial supremacy. Racial supremacy. They believed that Germans are only the greatest than others. So that's what Jews were mass killing. Jews were many. 6 millions of the Jews were killed. 6 million Jews were killed, and 2 lakhs gypsies were killed. 2 lakhs gypsies were killed. 10 millions, 2 lakhs gypsies. 2 lakh gypsies and 10 million Poland people. 10 million Poland people and 70,000 Germans. 70,000 Germans. Those who are handicapped, mentally, physically challenged, these were also euthanasia. Euthanasia means mercy killing. He wants to strong nation. He doesn't believe Germany is any handicapped or mentally unsound. So that those who are mentally healthy, physically challenged, they are also killed by the Hitler. 6 million Jews were killed, 2 lakhs gypsies were killed, 10 million Polish people were killed, 70,000 German civilians were killed. So this was called as mass killing. This mass killing also called as Holocaust. This mass killing also called as Holocaust. This Holocaust was done in the concentration camp. So one of the famous concentration camp is Auschwitz. Auschwitz is very famous concentration camp. They will not provide food. They will not provide water. They will be electrified the people. And sometimes they send cyanide in the food. Sometimes they use acid. They pour acid on them. So very dangerous conditions were there because of the racial supremacy, racial superiority. They do not believe in other things. They say that Germans are only very great. So that Jews are responsible for all the mistakes what the Germany is suffering for that, so that they are killing Jews. So this is our lesson. Till now we have in this session we learned that impact of socialism and rising of Hitler, their fascist Nazi ideologies. Thank you, children.